Oh, hold on a second before we start recording. All right, everybody, welcome to the ECES Summer 2019 Session A Pre-Departure Orientation webinar. My name is Duncan. Like I said before, you have been emailing with me about the pre-departure process. I've been in touch with all of you about your acceptances and the initial program pre-departure. If you have any questions throughout the pre-departure process, let me know. My email is duncan.eaton@ff.cuny.cz. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. And while you're here, I'll be keeping an eye on the chat box. So please reach out if you have any questions here and make use of having the webinar live. And otherwise, like I said, if you miss any information, then this webinar will be sent to you later through a recording on our YouTube page. So let's get started. So first, I just want to go over a few of the semester dates. So the summer session A is going to start officially on June 17th. This is the official arrival date. I'll go over a little bit more information about how you can get to the dorm on this official arrival date. This is the official program start. And you should be checked in at the dorm at this date. And you'll be leaving the program at August 3rd. And so in between this, you have two different sections of classes. The Session A semester meets all from June 24th to July 11th is the first half of your classes. And then the second half is from July 15th to August 1st. And so I'll go over a little bit about this in 1 second right here. So for the first group of courses, the registration is going to start at 4 p.m. Central European Summer Time. That's 10 a.m. Eastern Time on May 15th. And so I'll be sending a little bit of information about this next week about the course registration. But what this means is that you are probably going to be signing up for 2 to 3 courses for each different session. So our courses last, or they go from Monday through Thursday. They meet for about 3 weeks. And so this is the equivalent of a normal semester course because each class block is 3 hours long. So all of our classes meet in a block schedule. And so one thing to keep in mind while you're registering is just make sure that any classes that you want to sign up for within each section, make sure that they don't occur at the same time. That happens a lot where you might have 2 courses that you're interested in, but they both start at 9 a.m. Like I said, because we meet on a block schedule, there would be no way that you would be able to get 2 courses that start at 9 to be able to work out, especially because, like I said as well, every course meets every day from Monday through Thursday for each section. Spaces are given on a first come, first served basis. So please be on top of registering for the courses as soon as the registration period starts. And I'll talk a little bit more about how to register in a second, but make sure you are registered on our website at least a week in advance, just to make sure that if there's any issues with registering, that you are able to get the courses that you want and get troubleshooting out of the way ahead of time. Courses usually have about a maximum of 16 students per course. So I don't know, usually if you're coming from a larger university, especially where seminars are a pervasive format for your courses, you can have sometimes upwards of like 100, I think, students in each of your courses at your home university. So this is most likely going to be a bit of a smaller setting. And because of that, you're going to be expected to take part in discussion a lot more in these courses. And keep in mind, too, that if there's a course that you really want, but it fills up and you're not able to get into it in time, that you can register on the waitlist for the course. There's going to be the first 2 days of each course are the add drop period. So if you are unsure if you want to take a course, you can always sign up for it ahead of time, drop it later after you figured out that you don't want to take it. And especially during this add drop period, students usually do kind of try out classes and move around a little bit. So if you're worried that you really want a course, but it's filled up, then you should sign up on the wait list. Although keep in mind that after the add drop period is over, if you are still on the wait list for a course, you will be unregistered. So if the course that you want to take that you're on the wait list for is what is kind of hinging on you getting the minimum amount of course points or credits that you would need to meet the minimum requirements, please make sure that you're signed up for other courses. This is just so you don't drop below any of the minimum requirements that your home university might have for you. And definitely check as well with your home university how many credits they expect you to take, because you can take anywhere from 1 to 3 courses for each section. So that would be 1 to 3 courses first in B, and then again in the C section. So yeah, like I said, just make sure with your home university if they have a minimum, because for us, it's anywhere from 1 to 3. And so I'm just going to show you a little bit about the website. You've all already used it a little bit, especially since that's where you submitted your applications. But like I said, if you haven't already, please register as a user. I mentioned this in your acceptance emails, but we really want to make sure that you get in on time and that there's no issues. Especially, like I said, you will need to be registered for course registration. So to do that, you'll just click on the login button, and then you'll be brought to the screen. Then you'll click on new user and register. And you'll need to make sure that when you register, you use your name exactly as how you put it on your application, as well as your date of birth. So please, if you have any issues with registering here, if you haven't already, try this out. And then if there are any issues, email me with your full name as well as your date of birth, and I'll be able to help you troubleshoot. So I just want to show you what it's going to look like once you're on the student profile. And I've gone ahead and created a student account to show you that. And the first lesson about the Czech Republic is that when you're using a Czech keyboard, the Z and the Y are switched around, so keep that in mind while you're trying to type. Okay, so once you're logged in and registered, this is what your profile is going to look like, and this is kind of going to be your homepage on the internet for the duration of the time you are here. As you can see, my webpage is a little bit blank because I am not registered for any courses and I don't have any assignments for these courses. That being said, after you register, this is where your courses will show up, as well as any courses you're on the wait list for. And also after you sign up for our activities, this is where they will be. And you can also check your grades and attendance on here. So really, if you have any questions, this is the first place to go to while you're here. And so if you look over at this toolbar on the left, you can find our course list. And so there's no courses for session A, and that's because you'll need to go to, so once you're over here, you'll be able to go to session B or session C. Since the courses are registered for both of those sections, you'll be able to see the session B and session C courses. Because like I said, there's not any dedicated session A courses that go for the entire course listing. And so all of our courses are finalized. And if you get here and you can't see the B or C courses, then please email me, but they'll be down here. And you'll be able to click on a course itself And from there, we have all of the syllabi finalized. I know someone was asking me the other day about where to find the course syllabi. So it'll be on here. And you'll be able to click on the course title. And from there, you can find the course syllabi to bring to your advisor ahead of time. And I want to clarify, this is your academic advisor, not your study abroad advisor. So you'll be able to bring the syllabi to your academic advisor. And please, we do recommend that you get more courses than you were planning on taking, pre-approved by your advisor, just to make sure your credits will switch over. And that also means that you have a little bit of leeway when registering for courses. And if you don't get one that is your first choice, then you'll be able to kind of, like I said, have a little bit more freedom. And so over here also, you'll see we have the activity page. This is where our activities for both of the sessions are going to be after we have uploaded them. These will be uploaded closer to the event registration date. And so we'll have a collection of free and paid trips and activities, and I'll be able to go over that a little bit more in depth later on in the webinar. And also over here, you'll find semester information. Again, you'll be able to see the session B and session C information, and this will just have a bit about our academic policies and procedures. Here it is. So here is information about the more administrative part of the program. So we ask you to just give this a look over before you get here, but we will also have forms about this after you arrive. So this is mostly about the add drop period, like I mentioned, if you want the terms and conditions here, as well as class attendance and absences, our policy on that. So especially if you're planning any trips or if you're feeling sick, you can check out the class attendance policy here. So like I said, just give this a look over, but we will be handing out forms for this after you arrive. So that's the website. Like I said, please at least 1 week ahead of time from the 15th, register on the website if you have not already, so that we have time to troubleshoot. Like I said, the arrival date is going to be Monday, June 17th in Prague. If you are arriving on this official arrival date, you can submit your travel detail form, and we will be able to pick you up from either the airport or the train station, wherever in Prague you're arriving from. Although I do want to be clear that this only is applicable if you come on the official arrival date. If you want to come to Prague early, say like see the city a few days early, especially the weekend before, you will have to arrange your own transportation to the dorm. Please, though, if you are arriving on this official arrival date, we want to make sure that it's as easy as possible for you to get to the dorm and get checked in. So fill out this transportation form by May 31st. This is on the ECES website, but if you're having problems finding it, always email me. And so I'll talk a little bit about the dorm. So as you see here, this is one of our double rooms. This is the general layout for the rooms. And so we'll be waiting at the dorm all day during the official arrival date to help you get accommodated at the dorm and to get you to sign all the necessary forms before you arrive. Like I said, we will have someone at the airport to pick you up if you're getting here on the official arrival date. But we'll also have staff members, most likely myself, as well as maybe one of the other staff members waiting at the dorm to help you once you get here. One thing to keep in mind is after you've gotten off the plane and through customs, do not put your passport away. You will need it to check into the dorm and to sign some of these forms. So don't stow that away in your luggage just yet. One thing that is pretty common is that students always ask what they should pack before they get here. So one thing to keep in mind is that sheets and towels are provided for you at the dorm. We have wonderful cleaning staff that works Monday through Friday, and they will take care of your sheets as well as any towels that are left on the ground. So don't worry about packing those ahead of time. It'll just be extra space taken up in your luggage. So don't worry about that. And likewise, don't overpack on toiletries before you get here. Those are not provided by the dorm, but it's extremely cheap to just run to the store and buy them after you're already here. So don't worry about buying a shower gel or body wash or anything like that until after you get over here. And like I said, this is just to make sure that you don't overpack, especially because you're probably going to be buying things over here as well that you want to take home. And that's going to be extra space in your luggage as well. So just keep that in mind while you're packing. This is what the suite areas for the dorms look like. No matter whether you're in a single or a double room at the dorm, this is what the suite common rooms will look like. Every layout for these suite areas is a little bit different, but they all have a small kitchenette area, as well as this entryway that has a little bit of cupboard space and space to hang up your coats and put your shoes and everything. So one thing is that, like I mentioned, we do have cleaning ladies. They will clean the floors for you, but especially if your kitchenette area is a little bit in disarray, the cleaning ladies will not touch that. So please clean up your own dishes. In the kitchenette, there's a mini fridge, as well as some shelving space for any utensils or anything, Tupperware containers. And there is a sink over here, as well as 2 hot plates. That being said, especially if you enjoy cooking and the hot plates are a little too small for you, we do have a full shared kitchen area for all ECES students to use on the 4th floor of the dormitory. And please, we do ask that you make use of it. It's your space for you to use and to use as a communal space to hang out at and meet other ECES students. So please, like I said, we do ask that you try to make use of this. I think it's a really comfy and really fun space. It's got couches and chairs and tables, as well as a TV. And it's got a full kitchen area with a stove and oven, a full sink, pots and pans and utensils, and a full fridge. That being said, please keep in mind that it is your responsibility if you make a lovely, wonderful dinner that you have to wash your own dishes. The cleaning ladies will not touch that. And especially, it's the worst feeling in the world to come home after classes and you're just tired and want to make something and get some food. And you walk into the kitchen and it's just full of dirty dishes. So please clean up after your own dishes and ask your friends to do the same. And likewise for the fridge, if you're leaving any perishables in there, make sure that nothing rots or anything like that, and that you throw out anything that's expiring because you don't want to open the fridge and be met face to face with some bad milk or anything. So we also do have breakfast though, Monday through Friday at the dorm. I believe the hours are 7 a.m. to about 9 a.m. I do want to say this is a very light, traditional European breakfast. So there's nothing like pancakes or waffles or scrambled eggs, but there are deli slices, there's cheese and meats and cereals and yogurt and also little pastries. Like I said, this is very traditionally European, although our wonderful breakfast coordinator, Pani Blanca, will always take recommendations for things to add to the breakfast within the realm of reality, especially if you have any allergies or dietary restrictions. We really do try to keep those in mind. So you can let us know on your health forms before you get here. Or like I said, you can recommend something at the breakfast after you have already arrived, because we do want to make sure that you are able to be fed. One thing to note, though, is that during national holidays, the breakfast will not be served. So just keep that in mind. So also, we do have Wi-Fi in the dorms and 24/7 gated entry. You'll be getting your student cards after you arrive here, and you'll use your student cards to check in and open the dorm whenever you come in. We have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week reception just to make sure we know exactly who's coming in of the dorm. We want to make sure that, like I said, this is a safe place for the students. And so even if you have friends visiting for the weekend or if you have family visiting, you'll have to check them in at the dorm if they are not staying there. And they will also have to pay a small fee if you would like for them to stay at the dorm with you. And they will not be able to stay in your room unless there's an empty bed and you don't have a roommate or anything like that. But even still, you will have to check them in at the front desk and request that they share that space with you. You can't just bring them in and hide them from the front desk staff. Like I said, this is just so we know who's coming in and out of the dorm. So over here, I have the dorm address. And so we're going to show you where exactly in Prague the dorm is located. And so this is kind of a zoomed out map of Prague here. This is most of the area that you will be living in and exploring while you're here. This goes out all the way to the zoo in the north, down to Vyšehrad in the south. And like I said, this is a bit of a zoom out, so we're going to zoom in a little bit so I can show you the dorm and classroom buildings. So over here at Paradisova 6 is the dorm address. And so this is a little bit outside of the normal touristy area. It's a little bit more residential and traditionally a traditional Czech experience, I would say. It's a little bit quieter, so it's really nice to be able to get out of the way. But also, if you just walk a few minutes to Pohoželec, this is the closest tram stop. From here, it is a 10-minute tram ride down through this hilly area to Malostranska. And from there, it's just a short walk across the bridge. And then you're at Náměstí Jana Palacha, which is our main classroom and faculty building. This is where my office is located throughout the semester. If you need anything, as well as where a few of our classroom buildings are. So like I said, it's about a 15 to 20-minute commute, depending on traffic, of course. And so you're still able to get outside of the touristy area and have some nice and quiet, but it's very easy to get into the center of Prague. And so one thing I do want to point out is that a short few-minute walk away, I want to say it's even less than 5-minute walk. It's only a few blocks. Over here, you will find the traditional Old Town Square. And this is kind of where you see all of the stereotypical touristy pictures with the astronomical clock, with the statue of Jan Hus, usually looking through the Tridelnek pastry. So if you've seen beautiful pictures of Prague, you've probably seen them of Old Town Square. Like I said, this is right down the street from our classroom building. And over here, you'll see our other classroom building, Jindřiška. It's only, it doesn't have the subway stops on this map, but it's only one subway stop away from our main building. So it's very easy to get back and forth between the two. And if you prefer to walk, it's only a 10-minute walk between the two. So these are where all of our classes are going to be throughout the summer semesters. So like I said, it's a very easy way to get through the city. And also, this is where you can experience, especially if you're walking, the touristy and busier parts of Prague. So don't feel too left out if you are worried about living in the center of Prague. Like I said, it's extremely easy to get there. And also, one thing I would recommend, if you have time one morning, if you either don't have class or if you wake up early, you can walk down this hilly area. It's probably about a 35-minute to 40-minute walk to the dorm. But this Hradčany and Malastrana are two of the old traditional parts of town. So Hradčany is the castle area where the Prague castle and the parliament is. Down here at Malastrana is, again, this means old town. In Czech. Mala is, small town. So Mala is small, Strana. Yeah, so this is a very beautiful area. So we are going to go to the next part. So the ECES orientation, I just want to go over a little bit about the actual orientation schedule. So the arrival date is going to be Monday, June 17th. Like I said, most of the day is going to be check-in. Then in the evening, we have reserved a space at a local restaurant for you to not only try traditional Czech foods, such as goulash and svíčková, but also so you can meet everyone else in the program, meet the staff, meet the other students who are going to be here with you. So we really do recommend coming to this, although it is optional. So we will have the sign up for this closer to, like I said, the event registration. And we do recommend that you come out to this as it's a lot of fun. And the restaurant is only short, I would say 10-minute walk away from the dorm. Next, on Tuesday, June 18th, it's going to be a little bit more of the administrative housekeeping kind of aspect of the program. So we're going to have a housing orientation first, where we show you most of the dorm. And this is going to be pointing out the amenities and introducing you to the dorm coordinator. After this, you're going to obtain your student ID cards. Like I said, you'll need these to get into the dorm, as well as into some of our classroom buildings. And you'll also be able to use these to prove that you're a student after you obtain them. So we'll also have a welcome meeting this day, where we go over a little bit about the academics of the program and more of this ilk and administration. And then after this, it's a little bit of a busy day. You're going to have your first survival check seminar. So we don't have time to give you a full mandatory check class because of the nature of the semester. Although we do offer a check class, a normal check class as a course. These are not required, although we definitely do recommend that you enroll. But otherwise, we just have the survival check seminar part 1, and the second part for the check seminar will either be on June 19th or June 20th. And the other day, you'll be going on an orientation trip, and you'll get to choose which day you want to go on the orientation trip, as well as which trip you would like to go on. We have a few choices. Like I said, these will be posted on the website. So just keep an eye out. And the survival check seminar is very basic. It's pretty much the survival check skills. Dobrý den, hello, děkuju, thank you, nashkodano, goodbye, and a little bit of basic grammar, but it's nothing too intensive. But like I said, we really do recommend that you take the full course. So after this, Friday to Sunday, June 21st to 23rd, we're going to be having a lot of optional orientation activities. So for instance, on Friday, June 21st, we have an optional planned tour of Radio Free Europe, which is one of the historic and most important political radio stations in Europe. So please sign up for this because it's first come, first serve ahead of time. On June 23rd, we have an alternative walking tour of Prague and through its Peace Trail, led by one of our professors. And so, like I said, just keep an eye out on the website for the activity registration, and we'll keep you updated about this. And so here is an example of a few of our trips we'll be holding throughout the summer session. Like I said, Radio Free Europe tour, this is free for first come, first serve, as well as a few paid trips, such as the Český Ráj hiking trip, which is the day trip, the Dresden trip to the city of Dresden, which is only a few hours away in Germany. And so, yeah, this is, like I said, just an example of some of the trips that we will be hosting. Although please keep your eye out on the website. And additionally, before we wrap up, I just want to give you a little bit to think about to prepare for Prague. So first and foremost, and I'm a little bit biased, I studied history at university, but do a little bit of research on the history and the politics of the Czech Republic. I really do think, especially in Europe, that history really does influence current politics and the way that people think and act in public. And so knowing a little bit about the history and maybe reading some Czech books will let you know a little bit about what to expect before you get here. And Europeans especially do love talking about politics. And so it's really nice to be able to come prepared and have a little bit of knowledge about the contemporary situation in the Czech Republic before you get here. And locals will really appreciate it too. And they always love talking about these things with people who come to study here. And so additionally, start learning Czech ahead of time. Like I said, we do have these survival seminars. That being said, it's never too early to start learning Czech. You've probably been able to tell by my accent, but I am not originally Czech. So I can attest that the language can be a bit difficult. That being said, especially one small goal to get yourself motivated before you get here is to learn the phonetics ahead of time and the pronunciation. This will allow you to be able to read the tram stops and the locations a little bit easier, and will make getting around just much less difficult. I will also, in our follow-up email, be sending out, we have a check introduction video to help you with this, but also you can use a Czech language learning app such as Memrise or Duolingo. Duolingo actually has released a mobile app now for the Czech. They recently added the Czech language. So this is both not only on the desktop, but also on their mobile app. So check one of these out. Like I said, I'll be sending out our introduction video. And also, one thing to keep in mind is that Czech culture is going to be different from what you're used to at home. Even students who come from other places in Europe can be taken aback. Especially, people can sometimes be concerned that Czech people at first glance aren't nice, or they're closed off, they're not friendly. This isn't the case. Czech people do not smile or wave to people that they do not know in public. This isn't because they're trying to be mean or anything, just because in public, people here act a little bit more reserved and closed off. That being said, once you get to know people, then you'll notice that they're normal people. And it's just that before they know somebody, they just act a little bit more reserved. So especially too, if you're being extremely open and like smiling at people in public, they might at first act a little bit put off. This is just because it's not normal here. But like I said, you'll definitely get used to it while you're here. And also, one thing to keep in mind is that this kind of translates as well to customer service. You might notice that waitresses and waiters aren't always the friendliest at restaurants, and this is because there's less of a social expectation in the service industry that you have to act like you're happy at a restaurant job. These people are working, and so they might not always be the friendliest. And like I said, this is just kind of the culture here. So this doesn't mean that they're trying to be rude. It's just that maybe they're stressed out at work, and there's less of, like I said, a social expectation in the service industry here to act happier. And so also, one thing is that public transit is extremely pervasive here. And I don't know if this is the case where all of you are from, but public transit is kind of how to get around like a local Prager. So we really do recommend this. Like I said, the tram is one of the easiest ways to get around, and it's a really good way to get a different view of the city. Although additionally, there is a metro station, extremely close to the classroom buildings. And so this is another easy way to get around, but you're not going to get beautiful views of Prague from underground. One thing we do kind of warn students against are trying to either use taxis or Uber. Uber is actually illegal in the Czech Republic. It does not act as a legal entity, so please don't try to use Uber while you're over here. Taxis do exist here in the Czech Republic, but, and I can gather that this is probably the same where you're from, or at least big cities that are close to you, that if the taxi drivers think that you're a foreigner and they think that you might not know your way around the city, they might try to take a different route to your location, try to run the meter up to try to charge you extra. So we really do not recommend trying to take a taxi. Public transit is definitely the way to go. And we'll talk a little bit more about public transit after you arrive here, and we'll even teach you how to read all the tram stops. And so finally, before we wrap up, this is kind of when you should start thinking about any final questions you have, and I'll answer them in just a few minutes at the end of the webinar. But before that, I'm going to go over a few practical considerations. So please, before you make any payments, especially to us, either for housing deposits or for tuition, call your credit card company and bank and let them know that you'll be making a payment to us. We are located in the Czech Republic, and so any payment to us and through our payment system will register as a payment in the Czech Republic. If your bank didn't know this ahead of time, then they might think it's a bit suspicious, so just let them know. And additionally, before you get here as well, let them know that you will actually be physically in the Czech Republic for the duration of the program. I can tell you for certain that there's nothing scarier than being in a new country and being cut off from your money and your funds. So please be extremely explicit with your bank that you will be over here. So one thing to keep in mind too is the current exchange rate of $1 to 20 crowns. You might be noticing that the Czech Republic does not use the euro. So the Czech Republic is within the European Union, and this is true of a few different countries in the European Union. The Czech Republic has its own currency. So especially if you're trying to go to a neighboring country for a day trip like Germany or Austria, these countries do use the euro, and so you'll have to exchange your money. But in the Czech Republic, we use the Czech crowns, and that is the currency code CZK. So also before you get here, and I want to stress, you should do this before you get here, just because it's a bit hard to find these after you already arrive. Buy outlet adapters and voltage converters. This is so you can use your electronics at the outlets here, especially for your phone chargers and for your laptops. Especially, once you get here, all the appliances that are sold work with the outlets. So it's not really a thing to sell the converters here. So get these at a local electronics store ahead of time. And we have a bit of information about the outlet converters in your pre-departure guides. So reference that. But also if you have any other questions about it, feel free to ask me. And double check too that the voltage will work with your devices because the voltage can sometimes vary. Tied to this though, one thing that you absolutely should not bring with you to Prague are hair dryers and hair straighteners and other appliances such as this. Even if the voltage says that it will work with the voltage converter, oftentimes it won't work properly, especially we've had this issue happen a lot in the past where these appliances either break or they catch on fire, and we really don't want this to happen to you. We also don't want, especially if you have like a nicer one, we don't want your devices to be ruined. So you can just get hair straighteners and hair dryers after you already have arrived here for extremely cheap at a local store such as a Tesco. We really recommend doing that, and this also helps you cut down on the packing as well. So yeah, just please keep that in mind before you get here. And finally, too, you can get an ISIC card. That is an International Student Identification Card, but you will have to apply for this before you arrive here. You will apply for this as a student of your home university. So if you go to Kansas State, you will be applying for this as a student of Kansas State. If you go to George Washington, it'll be applying as a student of George Washington, not for our program. So apply for this before you arrive, and you'll be able to use the ISIC card for a number of different student discounts. Sometimes you can even get discounts on your flights. So please check this out if you would be interested. You can go to www.isic.org. They'll have some information on there about where you can use this, as well as how to apply. Like I said, do this before you arrive in Prague. Yeah, so that's about it for the presentation. Like I said, if you have any final questions, please let me know. I will be posting this video on our YouTube channel and sending you the video after the fact for you to reference at your leisure, as well as for anyone who might have missed the live webinar. And I'll also be including in that email a number of reminders of things to do before you get here, as well as including a link to our Czech language video. I'll be reminding you as well to register. So please, a few things. If you haven't already, like I said, register for our website at least 1 week prior to course registration so that we can troubleshoot if anything is necessary. Additionally, please, if you haven't already, send me any of your passport ID page scans, as well as the separate passport-sized photo. And I want to be clear that this is not just a picture of the picture on your passport. This is a separate photo that meets the passport specifications of, I believe, 35 by 45 millimeters. We use this for your dorm identification card. So we do ask that you send this to us ahead of time so we can get you all settled by the time that you come for the official arrival date. Also, the last two things are, if you haven't already, please, if I have contacted you about it, pay any of your tuition fees as well as your housing fees. Of course, if you have any issues with it, please contact me. And if you have contacted me about it and we've been in dialogue, then follow my instructions, of course, in our conversations and rather this. And yeah, I believe that's about it. So I don't see any questions coming up in the chat bubble. But like I said, you can email me at any time. Like I said, my email is duncan.eaton@ff.cuny.cz. You can find my contact information as well on the ECES website under Contact Us. And I hope you're getting excited for Prague. I believe you're all having, I believe it's a morning where you are. It's a bit earlier there than it is the afternoon here in the Czech Republic. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and thanks for attending the webinar. Like I said, I'll be sending this out in a video to you in just a second, but I hope you take care, and I hope you're getting excited for Prague. So cheers, everyone, and goodbye.